September 27, 2026, a quiet morning. Iran's top leaders were sitting in an important meeting in a heavily secured building in the center of the capital, Tehran. From the outside, everything was completely normal. The city was going on as usual. But in reality, at that very moment, the eyes of the world's most notorious intelligence agencies were fixed on that building. Because they believed that Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was staying there. According to various international sources, the U.S. intelligence agency first detected the movement of unusually high-level people inside the building. The information obtained through long-term surveillance was quickly shared with Israel. And from there, a joint secret operation began, which gradually turned into a full-scale conflict. For months, attempts were being made to infiltrate Iran's communication system. Satellite surveillance, CCTV camera hacking and various intelligence analysis were being made to understand the location of various top leaders step by step. The aim was not to attack directly. First, to make sure where the real target was. And Iran believed that their security zone was completely strong. The modern defense system installed throughout the capital and the air defense shield would keep their leaders safe. This was the natural idea. But in this operation, the war began not with weapons but with information. When every movement of the leaders came under surveillance, even the most protected place gradually became vulnerable. According to intelligence analysts, this was the most important step of the entire operation. Because if the target was not confirmed, it was never possible to strike. And when it was confirmed that the top leadership of Iran was present at a specific location, only then the decision to proceed to the next step was taken. The people of Tehran still knew nothing. The city was running at a normal pace. But behind the scenes, the war had already begun. And history was waiting for its next moment. After the long chapter of secret surveillance ended, the operation entered its most important phase. At the beginning, the goal was not to kill Khomeini directly. Rather, it was to preoccupy Iran's defense system in such a way that at the moment of the actual attack, that defense system would not have a chance to mount a defense. According to various sources, the initial plan was to temporarily weaken Tehran's airspace before targeting the top leaders. Although Iran had long relied on its powerful air defense system, Iran saw the radar and defense ring installed around the capital as its main shield of security. Therefore, instead of directly hitting the main target, the misleading joint attack by America and Israel began. So that the defense forces were involved in multiple crises at once. Gradually, an unusual situation began to develop in the skies of Tehran. News of explosions in different places kept the security forces busy. And at that very opportunity, a huge air operation began. Israel took part in the operation with about 200 warplanes from American bases at the same time. Which turned the whole incident into a planned and destructive attack. Many people inside the city still did not understand where the real target was. Many dismissed the distant explosion as limited military tension. But in reality, the attack was gradually narrowing and advancing towards Khomeini's secure complex, where all the top leaders of Iran were present with him. The sky over Tehran was gradually becoming heavy with tension. Although news of the explosion began to reach different parts of the city, the situation in the secure complex inside the capital was not yet seen as a final crisis. But at this very moment, the most important turning point of the whole incident was created. Although according to the security plan, the leadership was supposed to be in the deepest and most secure shelter, in reality they were staying in a relatively shallow underground structure. Perhaps the situation was not considered that serious or there was no opportunity to change location quickly. But this one decision became a huge opportunity for the attackers. Intelligence collected over a long period of time then began to come together. Analysts were convinced that the target was present at that specific location. And as soon as they received that confirmed information, the operation entered its final phase. The diversionary attacks across the sky were actually their last preparations. A plan to weaken the defense system before the main attack. Then, in just a few moments, the situation took a terrible turn. A powerful explosion shook the entire area. The multi-layered security structure began to collapse. And the place that had long been considered impenetrable turned into ruins in an instant. Before many inside realized anything, everything there changed. Later, many international analysts believed that if they had stayed in a more deeply fortified shelter, the outcome might have been different. But in modern warfare, sometimes a few minutes of decision are enough to change the course of history. The people of Tehran gradually began to realize that this was not just a military attack. It was a blow that aimed to break the morale of a state as well as its leadership. As the loud sound of the explosion gradually died down, a heavy silence descended on that area of Tehran. Smoke and dust covered the center of the capital, where just moments before, the country's top leaders were busy in an important meeting. Although the rescue team quickly moved to the scene, it soon became clear that this was no ordinary attack. Rather, it was a very well-planned and directed attack targeting Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Several important figures in Iran's high-level military and security leadership were killed in this attack. There were also casualties among the security members and workers present at the meeting. The meeting, which was organized to make important decisions about the country's future security, turned into a center of terrible destruction in an instant. Immediately after the incident, grief and anger spread throughout Iran. In political circles, this attack is seen as an example of a violation of sovereignty. On that day, the people of Tehran realized that war is no longer limited to borders. Because when even the most protected place in the country is attacked, the question arises, is any country completely